Listen to this resume. Failed his primary school exams twice. Failed his middle school exams not once, not twice, but 3 times. Applied to Harvard, rejected 10 times. Applied for over 30 jobs after college, rejected by every single one. He even applied to be a police officer. They said no. He was the only one out of 24 applicants not hired by a new KFC in his city. This is not the resume of a failure. This is the early life of Jack Ma, the man who would build Alibaba, a company that would revolutionize commerce and become worth hundreds of billions of dollars. How did he turn a lifetime of no into the ultimate yes? This is the story of unbreakable persistence. Before he was Jack Ma, the global icon, he was Ma Yun, a scrawny boy growing up in communist Hangzhou. He didn't have the look of a leader. He was often picked on. But his struggles weren't just with bullies, they were with the system itself. The education system was his first great adversary. He failed the crucial primary school exams twice. Can you imagine the shame for a young child, the disappointment in his parents' eyes? But he kept going. In middle school, he failed the exams again, 3 times in a row. His dream was to attend a good university, but the entrance exam required a strong score in mathematics. He took it. His result? A devastating 1 out of 100. 1. It was a public confirmation of what many whispered. He wasn't smart enough. A year later, he tried again. This time, he scored a 19. Still a failure. Most people would have given up, accepting their place in the world. But Jack Ma was not most people. He worked during the day as a bookshop clerk, and he studied at night. He took the exam a 3rd time. He finally passed, not with flying colors, but just enough to get into the Hangzhou Teachers Institute. It was his first victory against the odds, and it taught him a brutal but vital lesson. Success isn't about how fast you are. It's about how long you can endure. After graduating with a degree in English, he faced the real world. And the real world wasn't impressed. He applied for over 30 jobs. Let that number sink in. 30. He was rejected from the police force for not being physically imposing enough. He was rejected from a secretarial position. He was rejected from a fast food restaurant. In his own words, he was ugly and not talented. The world seemed to agree. But here's the crucial part. He didn't internalize these rejections as a final judgment on his worth. He started to see a pattern. The system was designed to find a specific type of person, and he wasn't it. So he began to think outside the system. This led him to discover the internet. In 1995, on a trip to America as a translator, he touched a computer for the first time. He typed China into a search engine. Nothing came up. The internet, this vast new world, was empty of his country, his culture, his people. In that moment of nothingness, he saw everything. He saw a universe of potential. He rushed back to China, a prophet of a new digital age. So how do you build a digital empire when you have no money, no technical skills, and a history of failure? You don't do it alone. Jack Ma gathered 17 friends in his small apartment. He didn't lie to them. He told them it would be hard. He told them they would face ridicule, but he also painted a picture of a future so compelling they couldn't say no. He called his company Alibaba after the folktale because, like Open Sesame, it was about opening doors for small businesses. His method of overcoming was built on a foundation of 3 core philosophies. First, the power of blind optimism. He called his team blind men riding a blind tiger. They had no idea what they were doing, but that was their strength. Because they weren't constrained by expert knowledge, they were free to innovate. They weren't afraid to look foolish. He famously said, "If you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure." This wasn't a platitude, it was his operating system. Second, the culture of the Iron Tongue team. He knew he was the visionary, not the technician, so he hired for heart, not just for skill. He created a cult-like culture of belief. They worked 20-hour days for a dream. He prioritized his employees, knowing that if they were motivated, the customers would be happy and the investors would eventually be rewarded. He turned his team into a family, a tribe on a sacred mission. And the strategy of the little fish. When eBay entered the Chinese market, they were the giant shark. Alibaba was the small, local fish. Instead of trying to outmuscle them, Jack Ma outsmarted them. While eBay charged fees, his platform Taobao was free. While eBay was a global corporation, Taobao was built specifically for Chinese users and their habits. He used his deep, local knowledge as his ultimate weapon. He didn't fight the battle on their terms, he changed the battlefield entirely. Their first investment was $5 million from Goldman Sachs, then a legendary $20 million from SoftBank's Masashi Son after a mere 5-minute pitch. They were on their way. And then the dot-com bubble burst. The ice age of the internet arrived. Overnight, billion-dollar companies vanished. The air was filled with the sound of dreams shattering. This was the ultimate test of his never-give-up philosophy. It was easy to be optimistic when money was flowing. Now they had to survive a famine. Jack Ma rallied his team. He gave fiery speeches. He made brutal cuts to non-essential services. He doubled down on their core mission, serving small Chinese businesses. They didn't try to grow. They just tried to survive. And while the giants around them froze to death, this little team, huddled in their cave, kept their spark alive. When the spring came, Alibaba was one of the few left standing, and the entire field was theirs to taking. And they did. Taobao didn't just compete with eBay, it annihilated it, capturing over 80% of the Chinese market. Then came Alipay, solving the critical problem of trust in online payments and growing into the world's leading fintech platform. But their masterstroke was creating an event. They invented Singles Day on November 11th. What began as an anti-Valentine's Day joke became a global shopping phenomenon, generating over $50 billion in sales in just 24 hours. It's a spectacle that showcases the sheer power of the ecosystem he built. Alibaba became more than a company. It became infrastructure. It empowered millions of small entrepreneurs, farmers, and artisans to reach a market they could never have dreamed of. Jack Ma, the rejected boy, didn't just build a company. He built a platform that lifted up millions of others. He became a symbol that in the new economy, grit could trump pedigree. So, what does this mean for you? However you're struggling right now, here are 4 essential lessons from Jack Ma's life that you can use. Lesson 1. Rejection is redirection. Every one of those 30 rejections was closing a door that wasn't meant for him. Stop seeing no as a stop sign. See it as a detour sign, guiding you to a path that is actually aligned with your unique strengths. Your job is not to beg at a closed door. It's to find the one that will open. Lesson 2. Your vision is your most valuable currency. Jack Ma started with no money and no code. All he had was a compelling picture of the future. What's yours? Write it down. Refine it. Talk about it with so much passion that people can't help but see it too. People don't follow plans, they follow visionaries. Lesson 3. Build a boat, not just a sail. A visionary without a team is just a dreamer. Jack Ma's first 17 believers were his boat. Who is in your boat? Invest in relationships. Be the kind of leader people want to struggle with. Your network and your team are your most durable assets. Lesson 4. Embrace your foolishness. Don't be afraid to be the beginner. Don't be paralyzed by the fact that you don't have all the answers. Jack Ma's lack of technical knowledge forced him to think simply and focus on the human problem, not the technical one. Your weakness might just be your greatest creative advantage. Look at your life. Look at that dream you're too scared to voice. Look at that rejection that still haunts you. Look at the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Now, I want you to see that gap not as a void, but as your Alibaba.
It is the empty space where you will build your empire. It is the nothing that Jack Ma saw on that first computer screen, which he filled with his imagination, his sweat, and his unbreakable will. The world has already written 1,000 stories about why you can't do it. Your mission is to write the one story that proves them wrong. Your story starts not with a yes, but with a refusal to accept the next no. So, what will you build in your cave of struggle? Go on. The world is waiting for your version of Alibaba.